This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Frigidaire Affinity washing machine front loader, and we're going to be fixing the door boot. We're going to be doing this without removing the dryer on top because we're going to do it just from the front, which is a little bit trickier, but it can definitely be done. Probably take you about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. This is what comes with the kit. It's the door boot and then a couple of little things that hold the boot in place. First thing we're going to do is use a standard head screwdriver to pry off the spring clamp, and that's holding on the outer portion of the boot onto the front panel. So we peel that away, and then we're going to pull the front of the boot off of the front panel. This is a little light assembly, and you just have to push up from underneath and basically pull it out of the door boot. It's just in there by friction. So don't pull it by the wire, but push up on the lamp assembly and then pull and it'll come out. There we go. And this is a zip tie that you want to cut off. And this is bringing water in through the boot, through this hose. So we just got to cut off the zip tie, and then you can get that hose out of the boot. There we go. Now we're going to push in the boot all the way inside the spin basket, just so we can get to another clamp that's holding on the outside of the boot. And we're going to get a screwdriver underneath the big spring. We're going to pry back and get that spring to come off. There we go. That's what's holding on the back of the door boot onto the plastic tub. So there's a big old spring. Now we're going to pull and get that old boot off of the plastic tub. There we go. Just pull that off. You might want to clean the plastic tub a little bit if you see any black mold that's set up camp back there. We're using some liquid dishwasher detergent to put into this hole to make it lubricated into this hole, and then we're going to put some around the rim of the part of the boot that goes back onto the plastic tub. And we're going to just use our finger to push into there and go all the way around. This is to lubricate it and makes it much easier to get the new boot on. Another trick you may want to do is to warm up the boot in the tub with some really hot water, or use a hair dryer to warm up the rubber so it's more elastic. It makes it a little bit easier to install. You don't have to. I did not warm up this one, but that's a trick for these Affinity or Frigidaire boots that makes them a little bit easier to go on, because they're not the easiest to fit onto the plastic tub. See this arrow that points up? We're going to make sure that that stays pointing up toward the 12 o'clock position. We're going to get the boot and just put it in to the opening, and we're going to get that 12 o'clock position and push it up over the plastic rim of the plastic tub. And we're going to use two thumbs, both hands, one to push the rubber up over, and the other one to push it in. You'll feel it kind of lock into position. And then we're going to go from the 12 o'clock position, we'll go out to our left, doing the same procedure, and also out to our right. And just take your time. This part's a little tricky. You want to make sure you feel that the rubber door boot really has locked in over the plastic rim. You'll feel it, and just take your time. Just go an inch at a time around, working away from 12 o'clock. And you need to push in pretty hard with your thumbs. So you want to push in and up if you're working in the upper section. And once you feel like it's really in all the way around, then you can put on the spring. But you don't want to do that prior, because then the boot would just come off as you start to put the spring on. So I'm just feeling around, making sure I got it. Any part that's loose, I'll push in again to lock it in. This is a really important part. After we get it locked in, we can put the spring around to hold it into position. I noticed on the right side here, it felt like it was not locked in, so I'm going to work on that a little bit. Keep pushing just an inch at a time. Kind of lift with one thumb and index finger and then push with the other thumb. Sped up the film here a little bit. Just take your time, be patient. Saves you actually a lot of time of taking the dryer off and disassembling the front panel. You really don't need to do it. One thing I would advise is to get these spring clamps from Amazon. They're pretty cheap. You just need 2 of them, but they really help on the next part where we put on the spring. The little tool that they send with the kit, I find, are not very effective for holding the spring. You almost, if you were an octopus and you had 8 arms, this would be a lot easier, but as a human being with 2 hands, you really need those clamps to kind of give you some support. So I'm putting one clamp in over around at the 9 o'clock position. I'm feeding it over the top rim. There's a groove in the rubber that the spring fits into. It's pretty cool. But to stretch the spring, you need to use the clamps to help you hold it in position. So I'm putting in another clamp over here around the 3 o'clock position. I'm also going to push it in and make the clamp lock in behind the front panel. That actually helps to hold it there. And then I'm going to push down and feed that spring into that groove. And I'll pull and push, and I'll just keep doing that. Come over on this side. If it slips off, it's okay. Just put the clamp back, be patient. It may take a few tries. The spring, it's at one point when you commit to it, it really stretches well. You just have to almost have faith that it's going to work because it feels like it's going to be too tight. But as you start in this last aspect, you start to push it, it does stretch really well. So I'm stretching it with one hand, and then the other hand's pushing it into the groove. There we go. I've seen people actually do this without using the clamp, just using their hands, and that's really impressive. I'm not able to do that, so the clamp really helps me. So now this is the last part. I got that to fit into the groove, and I'm feeling around. It looks great. It's all in there. Then it's okay to take off the clamps. There we go. So this one was kind of locked into the front panel. That really helps. And then I'll pull that one off. Now I can reconnect the hose there on the upper part of the boot, and also I can put the lamp back in. Here's the lamp. I'm just going to push it into that hole. It goes in really easily because we lubricated that with the dishwasher detergent. You could also use the liquid washing machine detergent too. So I'm putting a new zip tie on. I'm going to get that tight by hand, but then I'll also pull with a pair of pliers to get it even a little tighter because I don't want that to leak. There we go. So I'm using the pliers now to pull it a little tighter. I'll cut off the excess. Then I can just push that lamp in there. It's lubricated so it goes in really easy. Goes in from the top. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to use my fingers to get this part of the boot up over that metal rim. Same thing as I did in the back, just using the thumbs to go around. This is actually a lot easier because you have good access. You can see what you're doing. This just take you a couple of minutes. I'm just pushing this back in. This little rim was just out of alignment near the back, so I get that back in. I'll go back to the front of the boot. Just work it around inch by inch. Make sure it's really on there, and then we'll put the spring clamp back on. To do that, we're going to lubricate it also. That really makes a difference. using some kind of slippery liquid like the dishwasher soap. I'm sorry, the liquid dishwashing soap or the liquid washing machine soap. Works great. So we get that stuff on the metal. And then what we do is we put the spring at the bottom down near 6 o'clock, but we start with the metal going into the groove here at 12 o'clock. And we work our fingers down to the sides. Now we're going to push down and stretch that spring, pushing down with the thumbs to get that spring over the 6 o'clock into the groove, and we got it. We just want to test it out, make sure it's going to work. So we're going to set it to fill, and then we'll have it agitate and then spin. You can see this big groove that was broken out of the bottom of the old boot, and that's why it was leaking so bad. And these are pretty famous for that. After about 7 or 8 years, they tend to crack. So this is doing great. No leaks. And they're nice and tight. We'll set it for, we'll cancel and then set it for spin just to drain the water out of there. But that's it. Hopefully that'll work great for you too. Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate you coming to our channel. Please subscribe when you get a chance by pressing the subscribe button and also the bell button so we can send you notifications of any new videos that come along. And we have a new thing here called the applaud button. If you really liked the video, if it was helpful to you, if you can click that, we really appreciate that. It shows your interest in our channel and your support, and can't thank you enough. Feel free to contact me at the email listed below, which is scottthefixitguy@yahoo.com, with any of your questions. And also, if you need to have a FaceTime meeting with me or a Zoom meeting, you can click on one of the links below in the description, and we can set up a 15-minute or 30-minute video conference where we can work on your appliance problem. So thanks again for all your support and for watching the video.